Hey Johnson, wearing the same old clothes again? Living broke with your grandma really suits you, haha.
As per usual, I was being harassed by my classmate, Bob. Bob always bragged about his dad working for a top tire company. He loudly boasted about his weekend trips to theme parks and movie theaters, as well as family trips abroad during summer vacations, making sure everyone heard him. Most classmates probably disliked Bob internally. However, he was tall and muscular for a kid, like a boss of the class, so no one dared to defy him. He especially targeted me, living in poverty with my grandmother, and harassed me almost daily. If my mom and dad were still alive, I wouldn't have to feel this miserable. I clenched my fist, shaking in anger. At 11, I lost my parents in an earthquake. It was during spring break, and I happened to be staying at my grandma's place. I was shocked by the footage on the TV, and when I saw my parents' names among the casualties, I was stunned. After the quake, when Grandma and I returned to our hometown, the entire area was devastated. Homes, facilities, and factories were destroyed and washed away. Where our house once stood, rubble and debris from elsewhere were piled up. The tsunami didn't just take my parents and home. It washed away all our memories. I was taken in by my grandma amidst this unexpected tragedy, unsure where to direct my anger. Grandpa had already passed away, and Grandma lived on a meager pension. With little to no financial flexibility, Grandma struggled to raise me. Previously, she was content with a simple meal, but now with me growing and eating more, expenses increased. Costs of school items like backpacks, gym clothes, and swimsuits, not to mention school lunches and field trip fees. Despite conserving our savings as much as possible, we barely managed to get by. As I reached middle school, preparing for college expenses, Grandma started working at a nearby convenience store. Grandma married Grandpa right after graduating and hadn't worked before. Though she never complained to me, I sometimes caught a glimpse of her weary face, showing her struggles with the job. Despite the hardship, she never just spoiled me. She taught me good manners and discipline, emphasizing never to inconvenience others. I didn't want to burden her, so I never told her about the bullying. One day, I was heading to the store where Grandma worked. It was to pick up expired lunch boxes. The store, run by a franchise owner, typically discards items past their sell-by date. But considering Grandma's situation, the owner let us have the bread and lunch boxes. So on days when Grandma worked late, I'd pick up my share right after school, before the evening rush. It had been a year and a half since Grandma started working there. Lately, she'd been saying the job's become easier, and she enjoys working with her friendly manager and colleagues. But considering her age, it must still be tough. I wanted to ease her burden as soon as I could. As I entered the store, I unfortunately spotted Bob and his dad. I wanted to turn back, but Bob caught sight of me. I'll get the lunchbox after Bob and his dad leave. That was my plan, but it wasn't just Bob who noticed me.
John, here's your lunchbox. It just went past its sell-by date a couple of hours ago. Get home and eat it fast.
As Grandma handed me the lunchbox, I hung my head in shame. I felt my face burn and my stomach churned. Even with my head down, I sensed Bob smirking and approaching me.
You eat expired lunch boxes? Just what I expected from someone as po as you are.
Grandma gasped upon hearing Bob. She was unaware that Bob was my classmate or that he was bullying me. It was distressing to think that this incident would reveal everything to Grandma. Noticing our interaction, Bob's dad, who was browsing the aisles, started walking towards us.
Dad, this guy is in my class, and he's eating expired lunch boxes.
I hoped that he would reprimand his ill-mannered son, but as they say, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree.
Hey, you can't just take lunchboxes without permission. Can't believe one of Bob's classmates would steal.
He glared accusingly at me and Grandma. Grandma looked away, tears forming in her eyes. Just then, a young female cashier intervened.
This isn't being taken without permission. The manager, understanding Johnson's family situation, allowed them to take 2 discarded lunches. All the staff members are aware of this.
She stood protectively in front of me and Grandma, explaining firmly. However, even after it was proven that the lunches were rightfully given, Bob's father did not apologize.
Still, eating expired lunches. It's unbelievable. Being kosher is pathetic.
He smirked, looking down on us with disdain. I felt a burning anger, my hands trembling as I held the lunch.
How could you say something like that? You better apologize.
The female cashier raised her voice, but Bob's father yelled back at her.
Shut up. Who do you think you are? Just a part-time cashier at a convenience store, talking back to me?
Seeing the situation escalating, the cashier looked Bob's father straight in the eye.
Let me ask you the same question. Are you sure you want to be talking to me like that?
She then added quietly.
You work for Foster Industries, right? I'll be reporting your behavior today to the CEO, who happens to be my father. Be prepared.
Immediately, Bob's father paled.
You're the CEO's daughter.
He was visibly shaken. I deeply apologize. Please, let's keep this matter private. It's unrelated to work, he said, bowing deeply. A stark contrast to his arrogant demeanor earlier. Bob seemed confused about what was happening.
I once accompanied a company trip and saw how you acted. You were submissive to my father and your superiors, but very arrogant to your subordinates. I'm not an employee and didn't want to get involved, but I now realize that having someone like you in the company is an issue.
Hearing her words, Bob's father quickly realized that apologizing would be futile. He motioned for Bob to follow him, and they hurriedly left the convenience store.
Thank you so much, Susan.
Grandma bowed to Susan, and I quickly followed suit in thanking her.
It's all right. Oh, a customer has arrived. I need to get back to the counter.
She noticed a customer entering and went back to work. I felt it would be rude to disturb during the store's busy hours, so I called out to Grandma and left. That evening, Grandma brought Susan home.
You must have felt terrible, right? I'm sorry.
Looking guilty, Susan apologized. No, it's not your fault at all. Thank you for helping us, I replied, and she gave a warm smile.
Johnson is my savior. I just couldn't stay silent.
Susan explained that after college, she was living comfortably, helping with housework as told by her mother. However, wanting some real-world experience, she took a part-time job at the convenience store. Being pampered all her life, she made many mistakes at work, causing trouble for the manager and co-workers. That's when Grandma stepped in and helped her, teaching her not just about the job but also about good manners and etiquette. She said, "Susan is like another grandchild to me," to which Susan nodded in agreement. I felt a warm and fuzzy feeling inside as I listened to the story. Later on, Bob and his family moved away due to his father's job transfer. I learned from Susan that it was a demotion and he was sent to a remote branch.
Damn it, this is all your fault.
Bob shouted at me, but his words didn't bother me at all. With the way he acted, it was clear that Bob would have trouble making friends at his new school. With him gone, the class environment became much brighter. A change of seats in class brought me some new friends, and school became much more enjoyable. I was uncertain about my future after graduation, but with Grandma's encouragement, I decided to pursue college. I studied hard and was accepted into my top choice school. But just as I was about to graduate from high school, a dark cloud loomed over my life. Grandma fell ill and couldn't work anymore. Though her life was not in danger, she would be out of work for a while, which meant no income and mounting medical bills. I decided to forgo college and start working to support us. I originally wanted to work so I could give my grandma a break. It just happened sooner than expected. Right around that time, Susan came to visit my grandma in the hospital. Susan had already quit her part-time job at the convenience store and was working at her father's company. She heard about my grandma's hospitalization from a former co-worker at the store and made the effort to visit. Not only did Susan bring a gift for my grandma, she also gave me a present to celebrate my college acceptance. It looked like a high-quality, black leather pencil case from a renowned brand. Thank you so much. But I'm not planning to go to college. When I replied like that, my grandma was taken aback.
John, I'm so sorry. Because I had to be hospitalized. I'm sorry I can't support you for your future.
The savings my grandma had set aside for my college were spent on hospital bills, treatments, and medications. It's okay. I didn't really want to go to college. I'll work hard now, even for the both of us. I said with a smile, not wanting my grandma to feel guilty. Then, Susan turned to me.
John, I'll cover your college tuition.
Shocked by the sudden offer, I exclaimed, "What?"
In return, I want you to work with me after you graduate. Then, you won't have to repay the tuition.
Susan is currently working with her father, but she's considering starting her own business. As I hesitated and thought of declining, she said, "Consider this as a scholarship from me. I want to invest in a young person with a bright future. If you perform well in the future, it's a profitable investment for the company. What do you say?" Susan's passionate persuasion brought tears to my eyes. It wasn't a lie when I said I wanted to work right after high school to repay my grandma's kindness. Yet, deep down, I still had an unyielding desire to pursue a college education, just like everyone else. Okay, I'll study hard in college and do my best to be useful. Thank you so much for this opportunity, I said, tears streaming down my face as I bowed deeply.
Thank you so much, Susan.
My grandma, too, was tearful as she repeatedly thanked Susan. I vowed to work hard to repay the kindness Susan, who had saved both my grandma and I twice, had